Right, so the All Blacks, they narrowly skimmed past Japan, but now they've got themselves an even bigger challenge, which is their first match up against the Welsh. We will be trying to predict the All Blacks starting lineup and reserves for their upcoming November international fixture. I have got Rugbyitch with me last week, mate. All Blacks played. A lot of changes this week, do you think, for their game up against Wales?
There should be a lot of changes, in my opinion, but you never know with Ian Foster. He likes to kind of... Well, we just don't really guess what Ian Foster's going with, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, we'll just be clueless, essentially, with these predictions. But hopefully, we're right on the money for this week. So, we'll have to wait and see.
Fingers crossed, because I think last week our points were pretty much at an all-time low for our prediction. We went with a very strong side against Japan. They went with a side that had a lot of mashups in there. Some of the players who were in that side now playing for the All Blacks 15, one in particular, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So, he will not be there in our midfield. But nonetheless, we'll jump straight into it. Front row. Who have you got for your side that you would have up against the Welsh?
Yeah, so I've actually gone with the exact same three that I selected within the previous video because this is what I believed is the strongest kind of front row they could have gone with and something that maybe they needed in that Japan game, to be perfectly honest. But there, I've gone with Ethan de Groot at number 1. I've gone with Samisoni Taukei'aho at number 2. And I've gone with Tyrell Lomax at number 3. So this is what, again, it's what I believe is the best front row, which the All Blacks have gone with, purely just based on consistency and the amount of games they've played within recent games, in particular, the Rugby Championship. So that's kind of what I've gone with there.
Okay, so I have also made a couple changes like yourself. And I think the thing is the All Black scrum in that game up against Japan wasn't as dominant as a lot of people thought that it should have been. And I don't think that was all down to the fact that the All Blacks weren't able to get it going for themselves. I think it was just Japan were very solid. Exactly. I feel like they do need a lot of credit from that game. But for me in the front row, I have gone Ethan de Groot, number 1, just like yourself. Number 2, I've gone with the man who was the late injection into the starting lineup last week, Samisoni Taukei'aho. Of course, Dane Cole's no longer going to be available for selection alongside Sam Cane, which causes a few little reshuffles maybe for ourselves a bit later on. And then number 3, I haven't gone Tyrell Lomax. I've actually given it to Ofa Tuangafasi in my starting lineup.
Like it.
And I think it's just down to the fact that he hasn't really had too much game time. Tyrell Lomax, I can see him being maybe a player that they bring off the bench to warm him up for the game next week and the week after. So that's why I did go Ofa Tuangafasi in my starting lineup. But now we move on to the locks. Now we're going to have a change here because Brodie Retallick is suspended. So because of that, it does mean that he will no longer occupy that number 4 jersey. So for me, I have put Sam Whitelock at number 4. Now, I know he normally plays 5. The All Blacks seem to have a thing of playing him at 4 when this man's at number 5, and that is Scott Barrett returning into my side. So, yeah, Whitelock 4, Barrett 5. I could see them reshuffling and going the other way around. I think it's just a number, really, for the two, just like Sam Whitelock's age. But they're going to be there. They're going to be ready to go. New skipper at 4. Hopefully he does well.
Exactly. No, I've gone with the exact same team as you, in the order as well, as what you've said, with Whitelock number 4 and Scott Barrett number 5. I mean, it's weird how, like, when Whitelock plays with Retallick, then he shifts down to, like, kind of 5 in a sense. But I'm not sure really what the difference is there, of course. Maybe there's, I guess, a different role in the sense of, if you're a 5 or a 4, I assume, because, I don't know, maybe you give the call, maybe, in terms of the lineouts. I don't know how the All Black system works, of course, but no one does. Yeah, no one does, essentially. But yeah, I've gone the exact same team as you.
Alrighty, so now we move on to the loose forward trios. We've already got to have pretty much a forced 1 change here. So is that the only change you've made, or have you got multiple?
I've made several, but I've only made really 1 notable change. And also, this is only going back from what we saw within the Japan game. Yeah, so for number 6, I have actually decided to go with Akira Ione. It was a tough decision, actually, because I feel like they may go Shana Brazil just because for some reason they have a love for him and undesired love, which I don't know. I just don't have. I don't know why. Maybe my Blues bias kicks in a bit, but Akira Ione he's brilliant on the day, and I think he does bring something different towards Shana Brazil. So that's the reason why I've selected him there. For number 7, it gives me with great pleasure to choose this guy to start, Dalton Papali'i. If this guy, I swear, I don't know what I'm gonna do. If he doesn't start for the All Blacks with Sam Cane now out, literally, I think, it's for the whole All Nations now, right? He's out for the whole All Nations, I believe, for his, I think it was like a jaw or something to do with his jaw or something like that. So, gosh, if Dalton Papali'i doesn't take advantage of this, and if they don't start him, I'm gonna be, I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm going to live it, yeah, essentially. But yeah, hopefully he gets the number 7 jersey, because I know they did bring in Billy Harmon, of course, from Highlanders. So good to see, obviously, him be included now within the All Black setup. So, yeah, bold move there, obviously, from Ian Foster to bring him in. But, yeah, no, Papa Lee is definitely the hands-down 7, in my opinion. Unless you put Sevilla at 7, you can obviously do that. But Papa Lee at 7 and Artis Villa at number 8 is what I've gone with.
Okay, so I've also got a few changes in my loose forward trio. Number 6, I did go Akira Ioane, so I have done that same switch as yourself. I feel like the extra size might come in handy up against the Welsh because they have got some pretty big loose forwards in that Welsh lineup. And it's going to be an intriguing battle to see who gets the better of that loose forward chess match. Ooh,
I like that. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Hope that the All Blacks don't end up with a checkmate or else we're in trouble big time. That's the kind of reaction you get from, like, your mum, if you've said a really bad joke and she's like, oh, you got us there. You've done well. We're not disappointed.
Banter, mate.
But moving on to number 7. You said you got to start Dalton Papali'i. As you know, I'm quite a rebel. So I have.
I don't believe this. I don't believe you at all. No.
And I have gone with Ardie Savia. Ardie Savia as my number 7.
What are you doing? You're just ruining it. Like,
I might be, but I might be ruining it for now, but I'm building it for the Rugby World Cup 2023. I think Sam Cane's body's going to shut down before we get to France. So I think it's about time that they start building again, working out, is Savia their 7 or is he their 8? And this is the perfect opportunity. He's got like 3 games in a row. He can play 7. Yep. If they want to try that out, go, okay, Ardie, see what you can do at open side flanker, where a lot of people have been wanting him to be for a very long time. And then that also opens up the door for number 8, Hoskins Tutu. If you've got him there at number 8, or if you've got Savia at number 7, you've also got the likes of a Jacobson, Cullen Grace. If he comes back, he could end up as the number 8 for the Rugby World Cup. So that's why I put Savia at 7. It's not because I don't like Dalton Papali'i, even though I question the new haircut. It's a bit interesting, isn't it?
A bit of flair, He was even talking about. Did you see, like, in the YouTube video, like they've like into the sheds essentially, and like, they do like a post-match review, and he was like, even the group was interviewing him. So why do you have this haircut change? He's like, well, for the leadership group, we had to bring a bit of spice. He was saying, a bit more of a catalyst in a sense. So hopefully he said he'll inspire others to do it. So we'll see. Maybe Whitelock gets a dyed hair. Maybe we'll see if that happens. Maybe not.
So it's for the leadership group for a player who struggles to get 10 minutes a game.
Hey! He said the leadership group. He look, if you watch that video, guys.
I mean, I respect it. It's just
Hey, the All Blacks must see him as a leader. I wonder why. Because he's starting for the All Blacks this week. That's why. That's why. Boom.
That's why. Wiki fresh. Boom. Dogs on the base. So. Now we move on to the backline.
Exactly.
Back to business. So, number 9 and 10 for yourself. I will find out after I've told you mine.
Exactly.
That's the order we go in. So, for me at number 9, I have made the change. It is Aaron Smith back in my starting lineup. Now, I know you're a Blues boy, but Finlay Christie last week didn't quite do it for me, unfortunately.
He was up for it, really. No, I agree.
Does mean that now I've gone back to Aaron Smith, a little bit more reliant from Aaron Smith in that starting lineup. And then number 10, I have stuck with him, Richie Mo'unga. I've decided I'm going to give him this game. Next game, I'll probably go Beauden Barrett, and then it will be the England game that I'm allowed to pick and choose who's the more informed player who gets to play up against the English.
Similar to you, I've gone with Aaron Smith. I do believe for the same reasons that you said. Finlay Christie just wasn't, I guess, really up for it on the day, to be perfectly honest. And I think Aaron Smith just brings more of a reliability, kind of a bit more experience in that role. So that's the reason why I've set him there. But I have made the bold call for number 10. I've actually chosen Beauden Barrett for this game. Somehow, every time he plays Wales, he just somehow gets a try every single time. So that's one of the main reasons why I selected him, because I think it was last year? Yeah, last year. He got like 2 tries, like even 1 try, I believe, like where he just ran through the defense, and I was just like, oh, this kid's just a natural. So I got to go with him at number 10 once more. But we'll have to see if that happens or not.
Alrighty, so now we move on to the centres. Now there's a good chance we could have 2 completely different centres. In fact,
exactly,
I want to say your chances of having either of Tuivasa-Sheck, one who's in the All Blacks 15, or Braden Ennor still in your starting lineup, I think are about as likely as Italy winning the World Cup. So very slim.
Italy could win the World Cup. They're a tier 1 nation. They could.
So does that mean you've got Braden Ennor on your side?
Unfortunately not. So maybe
that's the point you're arguing here.
maybe Italy winning maybe doesn't lie. No, I don't have that over my squad. Just forget what I said there, guys. I mean, they do have a decent squad, you know. They got
they're not bad at the moment, Italy.
They got some decent players, you know. They beat Wales. They beat Wales.
It's similar to Braden Ennor in a way, how it's give him a little bit of time and maybe he'll get there, you know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Italy can pull an upset and beat France and New Zealand in the group stage. You never know. I can see New Zealand crumbling to Italy. You know, it's going to happen. I can just see it. You know, all the bright lights. You know, it's going to get everyone's way. You know, all the New Zealand players will be blinded by the lights, and Montiel will just be running through, just waving at them, just saying goodbye, New Zealand. You're out of the group stage, and then just score a try. Or actually, he'll drop the ball, and for that reason, the All Blacks stay in the competition. There you go. That's a match made in heaven. There, just made a story for you guys right there. Anyone writing reports? That is your report right there. That's the story of the headline of the week. Montiel drops the ball, gives New Zealand the World Cup. There you go.
Okay. We'll keep that in mind for the next 350 days. If it happens, we can come back to this one.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
Everyone will be like, wow, he's a psychic.
Yeah, exactly.
So centres.
So yeah, centres. Yeah, I mean, I've gone with really kind of the usual suspects in terms of who I believe was kind of the best partnership that the All Blacks can provide, and David Avili as well as Rieko Ioane. I mean, them two. I mean, again, I can't say Ennor, of course, being in there. I mean, I was actually pretty surprised to actually see him start for the All Blacks in that game, because he wasn't actually even in my consideration for the Japan game. So it was interesting to see how he kind of played in that game. But I'm obviously happy for him as well, because he's a brilliant player at the end of the day. But yeah, Reiko is just obviously brilliant in the number 13 jersey. He was just one of the hands down one of the best players actually within the Rugby Championship. So I believe he can kind of carry that form into the Autumn Nations. And yeah, Havili is just he's a great partner obviously for him. Again, not playing with Barrett kind of decreases his chances of maybe kind of that partnership working as well compared to Moana, of course. But in the past, having an extra kicker in your team like Havili can actually work as a benefit, really, as a positive, really, for the All Blacks. So yeah, hopefully that's what they go with.
Alrighty, so for myself in the centres, it's the same as yours. I have gone David Avili, number 12, number 13, Rieko Ioane. It's a shame to take Anton Leonard-Brown out when he's just come back from his injury, but I don't see them starting him for this game. I think instead they'll go with him off the bench again, so just a few minutes, get him warmed up, and then from there, I guess slowly try and rebuild him into that midfield combo. The question is, though, will he rebuild into a 12 or will he rebuild into a 13? Where does Rieko go if you put Anton Leonard-Brown at 13? Do you transition him back to the wing? Ooh, that's something to think about.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I wonder out of the centers, in your opinion, who do you believe has their position more, like, I guess, certified in a sense? Do you believe it's Reiko, who has the number 13 hands down, or Havili with the number 12? Because I think a lot of people would actually say Reiko with 13, but Havili actually, he's had that jersey for a long time, if you think about it. So
I think the big difference as well is for Havili now, with Tuivasa-Sheck no longer in the squad, with Quintabaya out with injury, it kind of just means that everyone else has kind of fallen behind him, and now he's pretty much thrown in there. He doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah. I think the only way to kind of get out is if he slips up or gets an injury. So
unless they go, Moanga Barrett 10-12.
That would be interesting. Jeez.
Of course, talking Geordie Barrett as well.
Exactly. In a weird way, I actually would prefer that, actually, because it's one of those where I know the All Blacks don't want to be like England. I understand that fully before I say this, but what with England do with Marcus Smith and Owen Farrell on number 12. You have two kind of, yes, they're both kicking options, but obviously Owen Farrell he's known obviously as a fly-half originally. So it's one of those where they can maybe do that with Moana and Barrett, with Beauden Barrett, I mean. But I think Geordie, we saw a glimpse of him in that 12 spot, and maybe there's a future in that jersey for him. We'll wait and see.
All righty, so now we move on to the back three, where we may be mentioning said Geordie Barrett in a very short moment for myself. On the left wing, I have gone Caleb Clark. Once again, I feel he didn't really have the best opportunity up against Japan to show what he can do. So hopefully in this Welsh game, he's going to be able to. And there's a chance that he could be marking up with someone like a Lewis Rees-Zammit. So the pace battle on that wing is going to be pretty exciting to see who gets the better of that. It's going to be pace versus power. It's going to be hard to tell who's going to get the better of that one, because Lewis Rees-Zammit, a kick him behind from Wales, you know, they might go for a couple little cheeky chips and whatnot and see whether or not Zammit can run onto it. Out on the other wing, another good battle. It should be Josh Adams versus this man, Will Jordan, on the other side. So another intriguing one. Yeah. Although Josh Adams, he hasn't really been playing for Cardiff recently, so I'm not sure if there is an injury there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I actually don't think he'll play. I mean, obviously, I don't know if he'll be fit in time, but I did see that he wasn't playing as much recently as well.
But if that is the battle, I think Will Jordan, once again, it's not really what I would do. It's more of what the All Blacks do for that familiarity. The word that keeps on coming up here. The All Blacks, they love doing what they've already done.
Yes.
And that's what they'll do again. That's kind of the system. And then number 15, what they've already done, is Geordie Barrett. As the number 15 last week, it was Peter Feta. I felt Peter Feta wasn't too bad overall, but probably won't get the start for this game up against Wales, unfortunately. They'll give him maybe at most some time off the bench, but it's going to be now fighting for those positions of 21, 22, 23 for a lot of these young guys like Peter Feta, Enor, him as well. He's going to be trying to get in there, and it's going to be tricky, but maybe we will see them slowly creep through. So that is my back three: Clark, Jordan, and Barrett.
That's a dangerous combination there for sure. I actually did have the same combination as you, but I actually want to change it up just with one position, because I realized with Lewis Rees-Zammit, I don't know why, but I think he could get the better of Caleb Clark just because of his speed. And for that reason, actually, I actually want to switch the 11. I chose Caleb Clark, but I'm actually now going to go with Sever Rees in that position, because he has played there in the past, and I feel he may be able to kind of contain, I'd say, Lewis Rees-Zammit in terms of his pace, and obviously he's brilliant in terms of his interceptions and winning the ball back for the team. So yeah, I'm gonna play on number 11 jersey. Same to you. I've gone with Will Jordan number 14. So again, kind of a crusader, kind of a wing duo there. But yeah, number 15, I had to go with Geordie Barrett for the same reasons as you. Parapeta just on the day, he didn't really stand out, unfortunately, and I think that may cost him later down the line, because obviously with Mackenzie kind of waiting in the wing with the All Blacks XV, if he starts producing a lot of games, or he's gonna get a lot of minutes under them for sure. And if he kind of starts producing, then Ian Foster will obviously take a look at that and be like, "Ooh, okay, we got another 15 obviously there, kind of waiting in the wings." So yeah, we'll have to see what Parapeta does, but hopefully he kind of gets some minutes, like you said, coming off the bench.
See, when you said that you were thinking about making the change, I thought maybe Faina Nuku was going to be making his way onto that left wing side.
It's just I feel like in a weird way, I feel like Josh Adams, if he's hypothetically available, he kind of reminds me of kind of like the big man really for Wales, and then obviously Lewis Rees-Zammit is more of kind of the speedster. You kind of have the same thing with New Zealand, how you have the big man with Caleb Clark and the speedster with Will Jordan. So I feel like you can counteract that if you just have more of a Sever Rees is like a bit of both. Funny enough, he's probably the one winger I'd say the All Blacks have who can do a bit of both. So that's the only reason why I've selected them there. But yeah, Leicester is definitely. I mean, it would be interesting to see if they put him straight into the starting lineup. But yeah, I just don't know. Maybe it's too soon.
Alrighty, so now we move on to our benches, the replacements. Start with the front row replacements. Who have you got? Yep. 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, so for my front row replacements, I've gone with the likes of Cody Taylor, number 16. He will be my replacement. Hooker. I mean, again, I could have gone with a sophomore more, like I believe you've gone with the start, which is I mean, it's kind of mad, but I like the madness inside you. George Bauer, I've gone with number 17, and for number 18, I've gone with the likes of Offa Tu'ungafasi. So I've gone with kind of, I guess, Offa Tu'ungafasi is a bit weird because there is Nepo Laulala, like you said within the previous vid, how he loves Nepo Laulala for some reason. He kind of utilizes him a lot within the All Black setup, particularly from that front row. But I always feel that Offa Tu'ungafasi actually is a better prop when he actually plays for the Blues compared to Nepo Laulala. But maybe obviously you guys disagree with that. But that's the reason why I'm going with Offa there.
Alrighty, so now my number 16 is Cody Taylor. I have gone with him as my number 16. Number 17, I've gone with George Bauer. So I did decide that I would have him off the bench rather than in the starting lineup. Yeah. And then at number 18, I have got Tyrell Lomax. So I mentioned how I was going to bring him in and give him a little bit of game time off the bench first. So he's well and truly up for it in the game up against Scotland. But I have decided that's combination. So I'm not too sure where their head is sitting in terms of who their combination is going to be at the moment, because I feel like that Japanese game kind of showed the ones they put in that starting lineup. Yes, they're good, but I don't know whether or not they are the front row, if that makes sense. I think the only one out of those three who's confirmed is Taukei'aho.
I agree as well. Yeah,
he's certainly going to give himself plenty more minutes. But on the other sides, though, they've got plenty of options of being able to possibly mix it up. Now, looking through at the rest of the replacement forwards. Now, I assume we have both gone with the 5-3 split, just to confirm.
Yes, of course.
Okay, we haven't done the Springboks. They went 6-2 for their game up against the Irish. So, for myself, I've got a couple of young players here. Number 19, Tupavai, as my replacement lock. And then number 20, I've got Dalton Pavali.
I'm happy using the lineup at least. I figured to say Billy Harmon for a second. I was like, what? Are you mad? You're crazy. But same as you. I've come with Tupavai as kind of the lock replacement there, number 19. And for number 20, I've actually gone with Shana Brazil. I normally go with, it's really between Satutu and Billy Harmon. And I normally go with Satutu in that position because, again, you can shift Sevilla to the 7. Papali, we've seen in the past, can play at 6. And then obviously you can put Satutu at number 8. But I felt Frizzell maybe has a chance. So it's one of those where, look, I did start him. It's one of those where, do I even start Frizzell? No. I have to stick to it. He's on the bench. But that's what I've gone with.
Alrighty, so now we move to the back replacements. I believe we're going to have quite the reshuffle here for both of us compared to what we had last week. Yeah. So, number 21, 22, 23 to close out your All Black side to finish the match well up against Wales. Who are your replacements?
Yeah, so for number 21, I've actually gone with a new name here. I've actually gone with Faflau Fakatava here. So I'm doing kind of an introduction towards the side. It's one of those where I could have gone with Finley Christie, but I don't know. I feel a bit bold, and I want to kind of include him from that bench. And maybe he gets some minutes. That we'll see if he also gets there or not. For number 22, I've of course have to go with Mo'unga because Mo'unga, is he hasn't started for me. But for number 23, this is where, again, I made the last minute switch. I originally had Severis in my 23, but I obviously switched him towards to start number 11. So for number 23, I've actually now gone with Caleb Clark there. So he's going to be the guy off the bench. But Brennan Enor is
one of the first times he would have been coming off the bench for the All Blacks as well, I think, Caleb Clark.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those, I don't know. I don't feel confident in that one, actually. You know what? I'm actually going to switch that because Kim Clark just doesn't do. You made that good point. You know what? I'm actually going to go with Brandon Enor. I'm going to go Brandon Enor. Yeah.
Okay. And also, while you're at it, you may have to switch your number 21 because I'm not even sure if Folau Fakatava's in Wales.
He's not in Wales.
He might still be out with his injury.
That's it. That's right.
I am willing to allow you to switch this one. Just because I'm so nice, of course.
Thank you, kind sir. But yes, I will go with Finley Christie there because he makes up the numbers.
That's a brutal statement from a Blues
player. He's a brilliant player. No, he knows the praise I've given him. He's outstanding. So, Finley Christie, if you're watching this, mate, you're an outstanding player. Mate, you're the Ginger Knight, mate. Ginger Knight for the Blues.
He would have turned off after a minute.
Exactly. He would have seen this video like, who are these kids? Jeez.
Now, for my replacements, number 21, I have gone with Brad Weber.
I like it.
Decided that I would give him the chance. Seeing as he wasn't taken back into the All Blacks 15 side, thought I might as well leave him in the All Blacks for a bit longer, give him some actual minutes under his belt to see if that is maybe the third choice halfback for them, because at the end of the day, if Folau Fakatava is going to be out for a relatively long time, they'll still need that replacement. So maybe Brad Weber could be just that. Number 22, I have got Beauden Barrett, seeing as I didn't have him in the starting lineup. Decided I had to have him somewhere, so I went with him off the bench. And then number 23, I have given it to Anton Leonard-Brown as my last man in the starting lineup and reserve. So it seems like Anton Leonard-Brown, maybe they could consider going for him at 13, but that would mean Rieko Ioane would have to switch to the wing late in the game. Or maybe he just slots straight into number 12 and replaces David Havili. I think it's going to be down to injuries whoever ends up with something going on out there on the park will be where Anton Leonard-Brown tries to fill the gap. But nonetheless, that is our starting lineup and reserves for both of us. Little bit of a difference between our two sides. The big question mark, I think, out of the whole lineup now is who's our number 7? Will it be Ardie Savia or will it be Dalton Papali'i, who the All Blacks go with as that starting number 7? But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let us know who you would have in your All Black side down in the comments below. A big thank you to you once again, Rugbyitch, for coming on the channel as well, mate.
Happy to be here.
Nonetheless, we will see you all for the next one.